All right, two questions. Is Brahman the cause of the universe? If not, then how did the universe come from? How does the universe come from nothing? Or how can the universe come from nothing? That's one question. And the other question is, does Advaita Vedanta recognize God or accept God? God means a God of religion, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, all-powerful, everywhere. Or is such a God a myth in Advaita Vedanta? So it's a standard question. What's the status of the old guy in... See, in Vedanta, it can be an old guy, it can be the old lady, it can be young, and man, woman, without form, in all forms. Yes, so direct question. Does Advaita Vedanta accept God? Yes. Yes, it does. But it is a very nuanced approach, which you must understand. This question is understandable. Why this question has been asked? This has been asked for more than 1,000 years. Ever since Shankaracharya wrote the Bhashyas, commentaries, actually explaining what the Upanishads mean from an Advaita perspective, the immediate attack was from two sides. The Buddhists, of course, but from the Hindus themselves. In Uttarakhand, sadhus put it humorously. The Hindus were shocked. They said, these fellows, non-dualists, are they Hindus at all? They will say in Hindi, Shiv Ji ki aradhana karte ho? Do you worship Shiva? Do you accept Shivaratri or worship the Divine Mother? Or do you go on pilgrimages? Do you go to temples? Do you take baths in holy rivers? Do you perform Shraddha and all the rituals of of Hinduism? Are you Hindus at all or not? Very big question, doubtful guys. These guys are... And the attacks, not only just common people, philosophers on the Hindu side. Prachanna Buddha. Shankaracharya is a crypto-Buddhist. The Buddhists rejected him and the Hindus also rejected him. So what was his answer to the Hindu side? His answer was that the sadhus in Uttarakhand put it nicely, Are Baba, hum sab mante hain. Yes, my dear fellow, we accept everything. We accept everything. We can take a dip in the holy Ganga, can go to the temple and worship. In fact, we can accept more than you can accept. We can accept Shiva and Vishnu and Kali, but we can also accept the God of the Christians or the Muslims, because we all see that they are all different forms and names of the same reality. So we accept it. So what is the conception of God in Advaita Vedanta? It is this. It is called Saguna Brahman, Brahman with qualities. What is Brahman without qualities? Attributeless Brahman. What is called apophatic in technical language, philosophical language. The path of not this, not this. That ultimate reality, which we sensed with that meditation on awareness, that is not an object. You cannot describe it in any term. But it's real. It's real. In fact, it is the only reality that there is. But that reality alone appears as the God of religion. So when you're talking about the God of religion, Advaita Vedanta calls it Saguna Brahman, with qualities. What qualities? Exactly the ones he mentioned. Omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, all-knowing, all present everywhere. Then all-powerful, all-loving, all-good. Ramanujacharya, in Vishishtadvaita, he has a phrase, Ananta Kalyana Gunagana, endless auspicious qualities. So does Advaita Vedanta accept it? Yes, absolutely. And because it is ultimately attributeless, when it takes on attributes, it can have the attributes of Narayana, of Shiva, of the Divine Mother, or it can be Jehovah of the Jews, or the Allah of the Muslims, or the Father in heaven of Christian. It can be. The Advaita has no problem. So this is one side of it. How do we understand it? It's not very difficult. As we do the analysis on ourselves, I am not the body, not the mind, which we did, attuning the subject to the absolute. I am the awareness, existence, consciousness, bliss. So this existence consciousness place, this consciousness within, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, with an overlay of the mind and the sensory system and this body, is Sarvapriyananda. And it is this person there, Mo, and is that person there, and that other person, this man, that woman, these plants and animals and dolphins and whales and all living beings. That one consciousness, plus mind, plus body, differentiated, and thinking of itself as a limited being. That same consciousness is absolute. Brahman alone thinks of itself as a jiva, a sentient being. Brahman alone is the jiva. In ignorance, jiva. In knowledge, Brahman. Then pick one. What is reality? Brahman. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Pash Baddha Jeev, Pash Mukta Shib. Tied in the bondage, and in bondage it is jiva, sentient being, us. Freed from bondage, it is none other than Shiva, the ultimate reality. Now, what is God here? I understand, this is the jiva, this is us. But what is God? Just one tweak of this. That same absolute consciousness, existence, consciousness, bliss, associated not with just Sarvapriyananda mind and body, but associated with all these minds, all these bodies, not these alone. The billions of bodies of all living men and women, all living creatures, from the tiniest bacteria to the biggest blue whale, all of them. And if there are living beings in other worlds, to all the pointy-eared aliens and whatnot, whatever Hollywood can conceive of. All of them, that one consciousness associated with all of them. Can you imagine such a being? The way you look at yourself, imagine how such a being would look at itself. This is the Vedantic conception of God, the immanent consciousness in the universe, identified with the entire living and non-living universe also. The Vedanta has a word for this. It is called Virat, the vast. Virat there, the vast, does not mean the physical universe. It means consciousness associated with the entire physical universe, looking upon itself as one reality. Now, does this exist? This is the God of Vedanta. This is what Arjuna saw in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, is Vishwarupa Darshan. Another name of Virat is Vishwarupa. When Arjuna said, I want to see thy cosmic form, he didn't know what he was asking for. The result was he was terrified. Nowadays they would say mind-blowing experience. Imagine such a form. In public speaking, they say we get afraid because 100 people are staring at you. You get nervous. If one person stares at you, you feel nervous. 100 people are staring at you, 1,000 people. The biggest audience I've faced is in Belur Math, 14,000 people. So it's scary because so many people are staring at you. But imagine if all the people in the world today, the 7 billion people living, and the billions who have lived earlier, and the billions who will live in future, and all the living creatures, from bacteria to lions and tigers and elephants and whales and whatnot, all of them together, all of that together, suddenly turns and looks at you. What would you feel? And I'm not making this up. When in the 11th chapter, when Arjuna sees this, the commentator says, what we all experience in slices of time and space, the life we are living, throughout our lives, all the food that we have eaten, all the people that we have met, all the places that we have visited, all the sensations we have had, seeing, hearing, smelling, touch. If all of that, in one time, not just one person, all persons, all experiences at one time, they suddenly burst forth in your consciousness. And as a person, not just an impersonal thing, as the whole thing as a person turns and looks down at you. Immediate reaction, Arjuna says, every hair in my body is standing on end. And the earth trembles at this experience. The earth doesn't tremble, but it's just that Arjuna feels like that. He sees this. What beautiful poetry. As if 1,000 suns were to rise in the sky together. One sun in the sky. As if 1,000 suns were to rise in the sky together. Oppenheimer, he quoted this verse when he saw the first atom bomb explosion. As if 1,000 suns rising in the sky together, I come as time, the destroyer of worlds. That's just one atom bomb. But imagine, so that is God in Vedanta. That is accepted. You might be thinking I hear a but lurking in the background. You are right, there is a but. This is accepted in what Vedanta calls vyavaharika, transactional plane. Transactional plane. I am an individual being, that is the vast God. But beyond God and individual, beyond ocean and wave, there is one reality. The water, which is both ocean and wave, is one reality, one Nirguna Brahman, which is Saguna Brahman and Jiva. What Advaita Vedanta wants to teach is not just that personal devotion of you to that vastness. Rather, it is beyond that vastness and beyond your personality, there is one infinite, attributeless Brahman, impersonal reality. That's the only reality. That is what I am. So what Vedanta teaches, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Which Brahman? Not God. Vedanta does not teach I am God. Vedanta teaches I am that impersonal absolute. Where there is no God, there is no individual. That is what is upsetting to the dualists. What do you mean no God?